Welcome to Age Well Athens County. I'm Allison Fox. Let's explore the people, programs, and ideas that help us all age well.
Good morning. I'm Allison Fox with Age Well Athens County and United Seniors of Athens County here in Athens, Ohio. I'm going solo today. My partner in crime, Tom Williams, is on vacation, so I'm doing this particular podcast by myself, but it's one that's near and dear to my heart. It's about caregiving, the most important job you could ever have, right? Caregiving is complex. How's that for a word? If you're caring for a parent, a friend, a loved one, a child, a grandparent, it doesn't matter. It's rewarding, but it's also challenging. And that balance of emotions can be quite the ride, and not always a fun one. If you're a caregiver, I want you to know something right now. You're not alone. You're not alone. There are so many of us out there that do a similar job to you, and we understand. Those of us that have done this, we understand. We understand the frustrations. We understand the joys. We understand the hurts. We understand the feelings. Caregivers have a very unique position to not only be in charge of themselves, but in charge of someone else. And for some people, that can either be a burden or a blessing, right? And maybe sometimes a little of both. And that's okay. I'm here to tell you that's okay. That is normal for all of us to feel that way. It's an act of love, but it's physically, emotionally, and mentally exhausting. Absolutely it is. It's balancing someone else's problems, medications, ADLs, do they need help dressing? Do they need help bathing? Do they need instruction? Can they prep their own meals anymore? Can they cook at all? Do they need to be supervised under certain situations? Can they be left alone? And a lot of times the answer to that one is no. If you're to the point that you are a caregiver, you know how much time it takes. And you know what the cost has been for your own life. And it's okay. It's okay to have those mixed emotions. I used to tell my kids that normal is a drier setting. It's not a state of being. Because honestly, what's normal? Caregiving in my life became normal. That was my life. So caregiving for my husband who was injured while serving in Iraq back in the early 2000s, that was my life. So for me, that was normal. Maybe not for you. Caregiving for my mother who was on a dementia journey, that became normal because that was my mother. Of course I was going to love and care for my mother. It didn't make it any less hard. It didn't make it any less difficult or any less challenging. You can love someone very deeply and still feel overwhelmed. There's no law that says that when you love someone, everything is okay all the time. That's just silly. And you can be grateful for the time that you have together and still wish that you had more help. Or still wish that things were different. You can be doing your very, very best and still wonder if you're doing enough. Again, I'm loath to use the word, but that's normal. I think anyone who's been in that position that tells you differently is not telling you the full story. And maybe they don't want to admit it to themselves. But those feelings, they're not uncommon. Not only does it not make you a bad caregiver, but it makes you a human being. There's 5 reminders that every caregiver needs to hear, and I'm going to tell them to you right now. Number 1, you don't have to do everything by yourself. You don't. You can accept help when it's offered, and don't be afraid to ask for it. When I first started caregiving for my husband, I would have people say, is there anything I could do? And I would say, oh, no, I've got this. I've got this. And I did. I had it, but at what cost? The smart me, the me that lives now, if I were back then again to do it over, I would have said, yes, could you go to the grocery store for me, please? Could you help me meal plan, please? Could you help me fold laundry? I would have picked one of the daunting daily tasks that would weigh me down in the midst of my caregiving and gladly given it to someone else. But back then, I felt like I had to carry it all by myself, and that's what I did. And you don't have to. You don't have to carry it all by yourself. Number 2, take care of you. That is way easier said than done. And I know that as caregivers, we get tired of hearing people say that. Those of us that are caring for someone that needs 24-hour supervision or care, you're probably rolling your eyes at me right now saying, really, Allison, how am I going to pencil in going to the gym? How am I going to pencil in, getting away with a friend for lunch? Well, maybe it doesn't look like that for you. Maybe it looks like you take an extra long shower. Maybe it looks like you take an extra long nap. I don't know. It's going to look different for every situation, but you have to do something that cares for you. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's calling a friend on the phone. Maybe it's cooking your favorite meal. It's going to look different for everyone. But if you don't make time for adequate sleep, for healthy meals, for some form of exercise, and some sort of activities that you love, your cup is going to run dry. You will have nothing left to give because you're not recharging your own batteries. I say this from experience, and I also say this because there's been tons of studies across the board about the toll that caregiving takes on the caregiver. It's great that you put your person first. Kudos to you. What an amazing and remarkable human being you are. But because you're so amazing and remarkable, you deserve some love and care too. And you need to take that time to do that for yourself. Even if it's just 15 minutes. Trust me, it makes a difference. Number 3, stay organized. Again, for me at least, this is a little bit easier said than done. I'm not the queen of organization. I have ADHD. I am one of those people that kind of thrive under a little bit of chaos. So the busier I am and the more I'm juggling, the more I tend to get done, but there's a cost. There's always a cost. And that high stress affects me differently. So I had to learn how to become a little more organized. You could keep a notebook or a folder with medications, appointments, important phone numbers, medical information. Do all of that. I personally have 3 different calendars. And they all have the same information, but I need to have it at a moment's notice no matter where I am. So I have it in my phone, I have it in a planner, and I also have a desk calendar on my desk at work so that at a moment's glance, I can check at any given time what I have to do in that day. If it's not on my calendar, it's likely not going to happen. And that's okay too. I write down everything down to the minutia of, I'm going to spend this time with my grandchild, or I'm going to spend this coffee time with my friend. Everything gets put on those calendars. And it helps me. It really does. Number 4, find somebody to talk to. Really. A friend, a family member, a support group, which we're going to talk about here in a bit, a counselor, all of that can make a huge difference. I myself have been in therapy for almost 20 years, on and off, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It has helped me be better able to cope with things that are beyond my control. And I really struggled with that. And I used to really get upset if I'd have a negative emotion regarding the care for somebody that I love. And I had to learn to be a little bit more forgiving of myself and to find some grace. because I'm a human being and my emotions are equally valid to the people that I love. And it took a stranger to point that out to me, to where I would hear it. Celebrate the small wins. That's number 5. There's always something. You can find it. I promise you, you can. Not every day is going to be perfect. And I would venture to say there's probably going to be a hiccup almost every day, at least one. But you can focus on the moments of connection, on the moments of laughter. There is some joy in the journey. Some of my fondest memories, I would videotape my mom when she was on her dementia journey, and I loved making her laugh. So I have videos of my mom hooping and hollering and laughing with me. I cherish these videos. If I lose them, I'm going to be devastated because that was such a hard thing to watch my mom have dementia and watch it progress, but I could count on her smiles and laughter. I could count on it. And that made me feel wonderful because I could bring her some joy. If there's anything I've learned about through my work with older adults about caregiving, is that caregiving is not about perfection. That's from my own life and from working with others. It's about being there. It's presence. It's allowing yourself to live in the moment with that person. And that's difficult to do, especially if you've got a million chores. But if you can take some time each day and just sit with your person, with that person that you love enough to do all these things for, it shows them that you're not trying to fix them. You're not trying to erase a problem. You're not seeing them as a problem. You're just sitting with them and enjoying their company. And being there in that moment, I really feel makes a huge difference, not only for the person you're caring for, but for you as a caregiver. Absolutely. I've seen all kinds of incredible things that caregivers can do with kindness and determination and patience. I've also seen caregivers that get affected by stress and burnout. If you or someone you love is caregiving for someone else and you recognize that this person maybe is always tired, if they're having mood swings, if things start becoming forgotten, for instance, certain medical appointments, if they're seeming more impatient with the person they're caring for, maybe they're having problems with bathing or dressing or feeding, check in on your friends that are doing this, because the stress builds over time. And if it gets to a certain point and you hit that burnout phase, some people just need to quit, and just stop doing it for a time. I was really lucky with my mom's dementia journey that I had 2 younger sisters, and we all kind of fought over who was going to care for mom. So my mom was in a very unique position that instead of fighting over who was going to care for her in the sense that we didn't want to, we all wanted her. So because we all wanted her, we all took massive amounts of time with her so that nobody had to carry that alone. Not every family is like that. And because of that, United Seniors recognizes that it's really important for caregivers to have a safe place to vent, to talk with other caregivers, and to figure out how to cope with certain situations and maybe develop strategies that they hadn't thought of on their own. Safe places like that are hard to find, and so we provide that. The second Thursday of every month, we have partnered with the Alzheimer's Association to provide a caregiver support group here at United Seniors from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And on the last Monday of every month, from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., we provide a secondary caregiver support group for anyone who's in a caregiver situation. It is really important, even if you're the only caregiver that shows up to that group, that you start kind of prioritizing that for you, because it's a safe place for you to talk about whatever's happening. And maybe someone else has ideas that you haven't come across. Maybe someone else has a plan that worked for them that you need to try or would like to try. You know, the coping strategies vary from family to family and from person to person. And even if this person is also caring for someone with Alzheimer's as well as you, those two journeys can still look very different, because it depends on what stage they're in, how much of their brain has changed, and what that person was like before they ever even developed symptoms. It's imperative that you keep those doors open for you as a caregiver to reach out and find others to talk to. We're here. If you need any more information on the caregiver support groups that meet here at United Seniors at our building in the Community Center on State Street in Athens, Ohio, you can contact us at 740-594-3535, or if you want just a private chat, and I'm the one that facilitates those groups. So if you want to talk to me, you can call my business cell at 740-541-4970. I really am here for you, and I've been on this journey myself, and I know what it feels like. I empathize, and you are not alone. Until the next time that we all get together, let's age well together. And I'm going to give you one thought of the day. Are you ready? Wrinkles are nature's way of dancing on your face. I love it. Stay well, Athens.
Thanks for listening to Age Well Athens County. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, share it with a friend, and join us next time. Until then, let's all age well together.